Y'all ready for some sports?
Maybe.
Are you dressed appropriately? Jock straps and sports bras. I know ladies have trouble fitting those jock straps. Ladies and gentlemen, Victor Allen's unique new Sportz. His unique fan base view. That's right. Get in there, take a look, rub his hand and make a wish. Brought to you by the man that the ladies have nicknamed Sexual Chocolate. That's right. Sports like you've never known. And here he is. Get ready. It's Vic. It's time for Sports Show. Yeah! Sports! Sports.
All right, man. Hey, look, I didn't even know what. I'm going to have to say this. My apologies. Mario suited and booted. Want to give my shout outs because I, of course, didn't address the dress situation appropriately. Man, you know, he's one up on me. He gets his clothes delivered online. I actually go look at a line and see if I can get in.
Pax logo right there too.
See all day, man. All right, man. I'm gonna start off with. I already told everybody anyway what I was gonna start off with, dude. Man, look. First recognition. I had to give that MLK. Love that. You know that look. That you see that monument. You go, hey, he's earned it. I can never get enough of it. Recognize because this day is special in many people's hearts, and maybe not in everyone. Not everybody has the holiday off, but some of us still got to grind. All right, dude. I'm just gonna do this. This is ode to Eartha Kick, Marcus. Marcus, man, dude, look. All I'm gonna say is this, dude. Come on, man. You could replay it over and over again. Okay, for those who may not have seen this, all I'm saying is this: you are the professional defensive back on a professional team, and they're teaching you how you tackle. I'm not worried about preventing the catch. All I'm saying is how you tackle. You look at it over and over again. I don't care how many times you look over. It looks like Pop Warner. He looked like he was. Worse. Dude, I just sat there and said, he did not do what I think he did.
I looked from a distance. You could see he ducked his head. He ducked his head so early.
And closed his eyes.
It's like, what did you think your picture? I had not seen this pic, Vic.
Dude, I'm sorry.
But this picture shows it. What everyone is always taught. You keep your eyes on the prize.
Lord have mercy.
You visualize. You keep your eyes and you watch that person, that target until they're in your arms. He ducked his head so far ahead of the time, and then he hit another player.
He took out his own teammate.
Took out his own man.
So let me just do this for those who may not be aware of it and go, well, what the hell are they talking about? Because I usually make the wrong decision here where you say you assume everybody's following it. All right. Minnesota Vikings defeat the New Orleans Saints 29-24. I call it tackle no mo or the whiff tackle of all time. I literally will say, based on the importance, dude, of the moment, find me a tackling moment with seconds remaining, or just forget it. Just forget that. Just say, hey, it could be a whole quarter remaining, and you give me something that compares to this. So let me just read it real quick, and then that way we can just go on into it because I believe this is just crazy, and he's already owned up, and he's a rookie, so. Hold on.
When you get to claim rookie.
He can't do it. It looked bad.
High school football.
Okay.
Teach you this.
With time running out, roughly less than maybe about 10 seconds, Minnesota on its own 39-yard line only had to get into football field goal range. That was probably one of the things that they wanted to do. Case Keenum connected on his open target, Stephon Diggs, on a prayer of a pass. Diggs high pointed and received the ball, and on his way down escaped the armless tackle of Saints rookie Marcus Williams. Okay, if he had gotten a bad tackle, I'd take that. If he got out of his arms, I'd take it. This was complete miss. And here's the other way. They do prevent defenses. So when they they said, look, you're not going to probably stop him from catching, but what you want to do is be able to corral him, right?
Right, push him out.
So
he's
even
on
if
the sideline,
even if
he's right on the sideline.
Look, keep him from going out of bounds. If you can't, you at least push it so they still have to try to do something else.
Either you stop him from going out of bounds, or you push him out of bounds.
Now I've heard
but he's out of something stops.
Right. Look, now the one thing I do say, they do say, these are professional athletes. You can't prevent everything. Oh, I'm not getting at that. I'm getting at the technique. See, that's all I'm saying. I said, did it look like Pop Warner to you? That's all I'm saying. After that, you guys can take it. And from now on, I'm going to find me some kind of GIF. And I'm going to have Eartha Kitt's voice. Marcus. Marcus. That's all I'm going to do. Because this is going to
understand that reference.
Right. Just, they'll know Coming to America, right?
No, Boomerang.
Boomerang. I'm sorry. See, that shows you I don't know. I don't know, man. Boomerang. That's it. Marcus. So, hey, look, I feel bad for him, but this is one of those where you go, you didn't even touch him. So, hey, look, I'm just saying, is it the worst tackle in a prime moment that you've ever seen? That's wrong. That's wrong, man. That's wrong. Hey, April, I see you. How you doing, April? Long time, got to get you back in here.
Yeah,
too.
you know, I've done some embarrassing things in my life, and
this play
is probably way worse than anything I've ever done. I mean, you can think about the times you walked across the room with your zipper open or the split or something,
Dude, this I can I could keep watching this over and over and then try to
watch this
for a long time.
Play of the week.
Wait,
play of the week.
The people who are leaving the stadium just heard a roar and it's over because it was only 10 seconds and the game is over.
But let me just say one thing about that, Vic. People were talking about the emotions of the moment, and I too, because I went through both. I had a moment of being happy for Minnesota,
right,
and I had a equally intense moment of feeling horrified for New Orleans because I kind of like both teams, right?
There's no bad guy.
When you start thinking about it, like even if you go, wow, how wonderful, then the minute you start thinking about New Orleans, they were supposedly already in the streets.
It's over.
They were setting off fire.
They were going like this.
Oh man, Vic, that's the harder one.
Because the thing that gets me is that they had to make enough yardage to get into field goal range, which means you're going to use up a lot of clock. So you had a lot going for it. Now, it wouldn't have been perfect, but nobody saw this coming. Literally didn't see this coming. And so to me, whenever I see that picture, I go, he wasn't even close to hitting him. His arms is not trying to wrap him.
Head down, he's looking at the ground.
Man, I'm done. All right. So now let me transition because I don't want Marcus. That's all I'm gonna say, dude. PMC. Look, dude, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you, man. All I'm saying is this: guys gonna talk to Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell is the one that sat back and said, "I'm looking forward to playing the New England Patriots." Basically, just going, "Hey, you gave them target practice, some motivation to come in there and go, oh, we're gonna do something again." Now, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have done it, but the professional pundits are going, "Do not." He says, can you imagine Bill Belichick saying, think beyond the next game? You know what I was surprised about on this one, dude? I was surprised at how well Roethlisberger performed. He almost had 500 yards passing, 5 TDs, 1 interception, and wait a minute, 110 passer rating, and still lost against a team that basically outscored them.
Fantastic
and shifted.
Even though the only thing that made it was that bad for them is that they were constantly doing catcher mode. That was the bad thing. Right. Wonderful performance, but all of it almost,
right,
except the last moments,
right,
was in catch-up mode when they were trailing at all times, and Jacksonville was looking wonderful. But you have to say, what an exciting game.
Right.
What an exciting game.
Right.
And I didn't know this part about that. So before the game,
right,
he went to outside of the locker room
to say, this is who it is. He's basically, what they did is he put bulletin board material up. And so when Jacksonville heard about it, they were going, oh, we didn't it's their way of going like we're dissing him, going, you mean that 30-year-old safety? That was the thing. And when he said 30-year-old safety, Mitchell decided to say, oh, y'all don't know who I am? So he goes to their locker room, so to speak, and said, oh, if you need to find me, I'm right here. So basically, he just aggravated them even more. And in the end, now they have been corralling around him ever since, as it relates to, if you go look at the Twitters or the tweets, depending on how you look at it, all the different profiles, they're letting him have it, man, because they're basically saying, don't do that. You gave them something to motivate them.
That's right. And, don't do it.
And so
he did.
He's lucky. Let me tell you why he's lucky. He would be the target right now, period, bar none, if it wasn't for Marcus. That's all I'm saying, dude. So he's lucky. So look, I want to give shout outs to PMC, Pittsburgh. Look, I'm gonna tell you what's up here now. I'm just gonna say this. You can't blame Ben. I'm gonna tell you this. The coach probably is gonna take more of the heat. Tomlin he's good at the motivation. He got him. But tactically, I don't know if they just had the horses to overcome this team, because it's younger. You know, they're not an aging team. They're a young team. They got legs and they got energy. And no one thought that they would score 45 points. Did you think they was going to score 45 points?
Well,
man?
no. Well, Calais Campbell had predicted that, and they showed it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think that. I thought Jacksonville was going to win, but remember, Jacksonville beat them earlier too.
30-9.
Yeah, so I thought Jacksonville was going to beat them.
Right.
I was just impressed with the amount of scoring in the game. I didn't have any idea.
Right.
Even though I thought it might be a 30, that the winning score might be around 30.
Right. Yeah.
I thought it might be like 30-24 or something like that. 30, depending on what they could get going. But I didn't know I don't think anybody expected 45-42.
Well, let me say this.
Calais Campbell said it.
Right. And look at what you're saying now. You got Le'Veon Bell. You got the most productive wide receiver, and you got the quarterback, basically, who's going, I can produce from my arm, and it ain't enough. So I'm going to get to another subject later, because I have to go to this next subject before I bring back around. It wasn't enough. Let me go over here, because I got to give respect to those who win, and then the proof on the pudding is the same thing I said about the Rams when they lost. Tennessee lost because of a couple of things. One, youth and inexperience. They were making mistakes. That's the first rule when you have an up-and-coming quarterback, new to this game when you're going against the Patriots. And then you also saw that what they did, this is what I call exercising due diligence. They sat there and said, this team doesn't have depth. They don't have a lot of players they can bring off the bench, so we're going to speed up the game. And they exhausted them. You could see how tired they were. Their replacements, their benches, they just couldn't match the talent. That's not an excuse, but it's called assessing it by going to look at the other games and say, what do they tend to do? Play their prime players and don't get as much relief. So what they did is just speed up the game. Caught them off guard.
Those are variables that you can control that go into making champions.
Right.
In other words, it's like defense in basketball. You could be known for your hustle and your conditioning. That's something you control, right, Vic?
Right.
You can do it over and over and over. If you're a defensive back,
right,
you could actually do drills on catching,
right,
so that some of them don't look so bad with the ball. That's why defensive backs, pro defensive backs, have footballs hit them square in the hands,
right,
and they can't catch them.
Right.
You could practice that, right?
Right.
So hence my point being, that's the professionalism. They said that Larry Bird used to go out and shoot like 500 shots,
right,
before the game. Some ridiculous amount. And you go, my God, I said Steph Curry, his regimen.
Right. No, I agree.
So, Vic, they're not supposed to be able to beat you based on conditioning. And when they do, to me, that's a gut check kind of issue.
Right.
Too bad.
Yeah. No, okay.
That's never.
Hey, look.
If that happened to me, I'd be totally embarrassed, and I would change everything.
The part of how teams prepare is where they go up. What Belichick does is I go after the things that I've already been able to look at how you perform when you won, because you can look at the weaknesses in your winning versus everybody goes and look and say, let's see how they lost. He says, this is how they won, which means it may hide their lesser strengths. We're going to attack that. And they got them because they said Tennessee has been playing mostly with their starters, the lack of depth. They don't have a bench. It's like in basketball. Not all teams, just because you got a bench, can perform. And some teams have a great bench that comes in and spells the starters. I know San Antonio went through that.
Conditioning shouldn't be a part of any of those scenarios.
No, it shouldn't be. That's why I said that's the youth and inexperience.
Well, let's tell you. I'll expand it because there's no limit on coaching. That you can spend whatever you want on coaching, right?
Right.
So you can imagine some of the teams probably have a tackling coach,
right,
an eating coach. They probably have all the coaches. You know what I would do, Vic? Everything that you had, I would have the wide receiver, the defensive backs do catching drills.
What about the cuss out coach?
Well, they got everything. Everything you need. They got to do that little dance, get one of them.
Hey,
well,
look.
my point being,
hey, man, I'm good.
The people that excel is because of their attention to detail. That's what they talk about preparation.
Right.
They train you. You should be evaluating every lineman's performance.
Right.
And come back with specific pointers.
Yeah.
Because you have an offensive line coach. You got a defensive line coach. They're supposed to be assessing every single one of those things every week.
Right.
But I can tell you, I can guarantee you.
What?
That some people run a loose ship.
Right.
And some people don't communicate the same.
I agree.
Amazing how Tom Coughlin comes to Jacksonville.
Right.
It makes that big a difference.
And I'm going to add something too. I bet you Mario, when he was playing linebacker in high school, you were the best practice teammate, bar none, on the team.
No, but I believed in it, though.
Oh, that's good.
It's almost like some people don't believe in the fundamentals even when you're doing it. I was that way as a physician, too.
Right.
They don't. Some people just don't believe in talking to the patient. They don't believe that.
There we go. Okay, I got you. All right.
Some people don't believe in working out, right? You could tell.
Hey,
hey, Vic, we both know there's athletes. Then there's people taken so seriously.
Right.
They're eating, drinking, sleeping.
It's
everything to keep their body in shape, right?
It starts. I hate to say this. It starts at the top. All the organizations that perform regularly have a top to bottom. If you allow a whole bunch of talent to come into your place, but your top is not good, what do you do then?
That's what they say about us, right? They say they come over here. You got to have some attention to detail because there's nothing sloppy.
I'm only saying.
Nothing.
Hey, look. I don't mean to have my back to all of you guys. What's up, Acapella? I see you. All of you guys. I got to get through this because it's MLK Day. All right. Let me go on to the next one. Hey, let me say this. When does a backup quarterback come in and says, I actually outperformed the starter from your team? How many people had in their mind that Matt Ryan, would actually be outperformed by a backup quarterback, Nick Foles, in a game where he only gets his team to score 10 points? This is about defense. Philadelphia right now.
Case Keenum was the backup.
True. And I'm just saying, but if you look at how much was scored, you're getting Matt Ryan coming from an offensive juggernaut from last year. Would you have guessed that they score only 10?
It's a quarterback's time. Okay, those are wonder stories that occurred. They just happen to overlap a little bit, right?
Right.
Carson Wentz, it still is a wonder story. Had he been healthy, it would have continued, right?
Right.
So these are wonder stories. Case Keenum's wonder story.
Right.
Nick Foles, he was a starter before. He was a part of efforts. I couldn't. They reminded me that he relieved Michael Vick.
Right. How many years ago?
That's when he first made his presence.
2013, 14, somewhere in there.
He first made his presence. I had forgotten, but so much. And I must admit, I love to see it. I love to see it happen.
Both teams, I would say this right now. I can't wait to see Minnesota's defense against Philadelphia's defense. I can't wait to see that both backup quarterbacks will be good. The story's right the same. There is no bad team. They both have good defensive, good balance on both sides. I think Minnesota has the advantage in this running backs, but I also think that the defensive across the board, what they did with Atlanta kind of blew me away, holding them to 10 points. I just sat there and said, that's it.
So you know what the numbers that are out there, people are saying?
Not yet.
Who's favored?
I haven't even looked at those yet because I know they're going to change day to day. Yeah,
I'm really curious. I don't know.
Well, we know that the next story you're going to get.
I kind of think I favor Minnesota
because home. Yeah, they're going to be favored. Minnesota's going to be favored at home. Because just the sheer amount, I would love to see them.
If they win, they get to pay the Super Bowl at home.
Watch this. Do you know Atlanta was? I think Atlanta. I'm not sure. I can't remember what the odds were going into the game, so I don't want to quote it. Let me just stay away from that. I want to get to this one because this is the one where everybody's going to go. Let me pick the obvious, Patriots. And all I'm going to say is the one thing that kept Jacksonville from actually stumbling over their feet, no turnovers. They stayed away from the mistakes based on youth and inexperience. The Bortles weakness is not a weakness when you can go and compare what he did with that team. Timely passes, he knew when to run, and I'm sorry, this is scary to me. A defensive team, though they didn't show defense in Pittsburgh, but they know how to swarm. Who is an offensive weapon more so? New England Patriots versus Pittsburgh Steelers. Patriots do dink, dunk, underneath. Dink, dunk, misdirection. That's how they get you. Quick, hit the passes quick, keep you off balance. Whereas you have Jacksonville, who has that 230, 40-pound, 6'3" running back who can just go like this. We're coming at you. And we're going to keep coming. We're going to keep you off the field. Then you go look at Roethlisberger's numbers. I said he had 469 yards, 5 TDs, 1 interception, and he lost. So let me just try to figure this out. Do we think New England's defense is better than Pittsburgh's defense? If so, then I would favor New England easier because they're going to say our defense is a little bit stronger. But do you think Tom Brady can outpoint Jacksonville, who has a better defense? Vegas is already favored Brady. I don't know what the points. I don't know what the points is, man.
I'm curious on that one too. Well, I think that the Jaguars match up well in a bunch of areas that other people don't match up well. So right. It all depends. But, and Bortles, who has been playing wonderfully, really, he still has the issue to me, even though, and I must admit, I was hard on Bortles. But I remind myself he's played as a rookie.
Right.
He really is one of those ones who learned in the saddle. They started him as a rookie and they played him
right.
Year 0, year 1, all of that.
Right.
So you got to see him grow, but he has grown.
Right.
But still, this is the arena where he needs to prove himself, right? He needs to prove himself in this arena to be determined.
Right.
Whereas Brady is, to me, probably the most feared quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
When it's necessary.
Right. They're going to keep because they're going to use schemes to speed up the game, misdirection, and they're so good at underneath passing. But this is the Brady's weakness, that when they lost games, no team survives on zone. Don't. They're going to pick you apart. This team is looking forward to man and man. They are man-to-man.
And they're big. It's just like they match up, even with Bouye, who got beat twice.
Right.
He was so on him on those two. One, you got to say, this guy covers people. No wonder he's all pro.
Right.
He is on you and then they stack up big and physical enough for Gronkowski,
and
too.
And never had to blitz.
No.
So my point is.
No, and the front four.
Right.
I'm really thinking that the front four is going to give Brady hell. Even though he has been known to make touchdown passes.
Oh, no. I agree.
Breathing down on him.
See, my point is when you don't if you can go with a 3 or 4 man rush and get your job done and put pressure, the person to me who's really at risk more so than Bortles, if we don't expect Bortles to give you a 350-yard game, Brady, you actually are going like this. If there's any team that's going to get close to us with hitting Brady, it'll be this team. Remember, Peyton Manning did win a Super Bowl where the defense wreaked havoc, and he only had 180 yards production. So it's not necessarily that you have to have 400 or 500 yards passing, but if they do that, that means they found the weakness in Jacksonville. That they are going to go, we're going to keep you off base. It'll be the same thing what Brady did with the Tennessee Titans. It just seemed like they didn't know what was coming, left or right. So it's going to be a good coaching analysis. And the perspective is that you got this team, if they can stay together, that they say, if we keep it close and we pressure and we do ball control on running, I think they have a good chance. So, hey, just want to let you know that, man.
Yeah, they do have a good chance. The question is, will they be able to pull it off? They don't, I cannot get away from the experience factor, to me. And that's where Brady and they're tacticians.
Yes.
They're not going to fold. So you might be able to beat them, but you're going to have to beat them.
And let's just be real. I'm just saying this right offhand. What's the real playoff test so far? The worst seeded team in the tournament? Tennessee. So they haven't been tested. Jacksonville has been tested by the number 2 seed. So if I was coming in confidence, I'll be the one going like this. Did Tennessee give you guys enough to feel confident over Jacksonville? Hell no. Not hardly. So some of this is when you're battle tested and you're on the road. And they've already proved they can win on the road. Just going to go there and say that, man. So I can't wait for the game. Got to go up here. A couple of trending topics. See which one you like the best out of the 3. And then we'll discuss that and take it out of here. I got Ball Brothers Zippo in EuroLeague debut. They only played 5 and 9 minutes respectively. LiAngelo, LaMelo, they only played a few minutes, but combined 0 for 7. Not good. You got to hit 1 basket. So we get to hold that against them because they're supposed to be great shooters. Number 2, Tennessee Titans coach Malarkey part ways. So after he took them to where they are right now, they were in negotiations for a new contract extension, and Malarkey, I guess, decided to go, I ain't budging, and they ain't budging. My question to you, does Tennessee come back and make it in the playoffs next year?
I don't know. It depends who they select. They have you know what? Some franchises, unfortunately, give you a feeling of mismanagement.
Yeah.
They somehow, lately, they kind of have that flavor. I don't know if that's the issue, Vic, but some stuff seems to be mismanagement.
They're letting that coach go who basically, you know what they said? Here was what they said. They asked him, this is secondhand information reported, asked him, will he make any changes going into next year? He said no, which means when you talk to ownership, they go, you are going to make some changes because you didn't make it past the first round. So if you were sitting in the seat where you're going, I have ownership asking me, will I make any changes moving forward? Based on you saying we're going to keep the same thing we have right here, no changes whatsoever. Is that the best answer to give?
No, it's not the best answer, but it may be that, depends on how you play those things politically. See, my point, the point may have been, and these things are often quoted out of context, that it's not me who needs to change the coaching philosophy. The management needs to go get me some other players that I can now do what I've already shown we could do.
Right.
If they would get me a few more players by paying them a little better,
right, then
we can move forward.
Okay. All right.
Because often it's something like that.
Okay. Now, out of those 3, I'm about to give you the third story, and you tell me which one.
None of those would sound good to management.
Well, no, I know. Management is not going to listen to it.
They want to hear nothing.
No, they're going to, because what they're going to point to is going to say, how did you feel you coached your players who looked like they were making a whole bunch of mistakes during the game? They're going to point to that and say, is that coaching now?
Well, some of it is, and also it's harder to coach when you give me the players that are incompetent and idiots.
Did you just say the owners gave you?
Yeah, because sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes you ask, and it comes to quarterback sometimes, whether or not it's accurate or not.
You gonna tell owners you gave
Specifically Tennessee, when they had Fisher, it was known that he didn't want Young.
Yeah, no, we know that.
And we know that coaches are often giving players they don't want.
They inherit not only the player, but the relationship that's deeper than that. And so they don't have a lot of leverage.
And they may inherit, Vic, but they actually may get new ones. In other words, there's one thing to get their hero, the players. But what about if on an ongoing basis, every year they're getting players?
I agree.
That was Bill Parcells' complaint.
Yeah.
That they were getting him stuff he didn't want or ask for.
Right.
And not getting him what he wanted.
Right. No, I got you. I just like the idea you're going to tell them you gave me players that were.
Well, it depends who you are. See, this depends. This depends on the clout of the coach. When you have a coach who has such standing that he can get a job anywhere, anytime,
right,
he gets to talk like that.
Yeah. Okay. So the thumbs up. You don't have no other information. If you just had to side a bet and says, "Hey, gentlemen's bet. Tennessee makes it to the playoffs. Tennessee don't make it to the playoffs next year." You don't have the advance of knowing which coach is coming there.
I say no. I was surprised they got what they did this year.
Okay. No, it's a good answer.
They don't seem to have. I don't. To me, as a franchise, they just seem to lack.
Well, the AFC was kind of weak this year, all around, top to bottom.
I don't know what it is about Tennessee. I guess they've been one of those franchises that, to me, slipped into a sort of mediocre pattern. It's stuck. To stay there.
Well, they expected more from Mariota as it relates to how many years he's been in the league, because they're seeing people like Carson Wentz or Dak Prescott come in the league 1 year, boom, bam.
I think he's done well. I think the system that they have placed him in, the way they play the team, is what the problem is.
Well, I can tell you this.
He does well.
I can tell you that Mariota doesn't look like the player he was when he first came in. They expected more from him, and they say that may be inhibiting the philosophy that Malarkey has installed, or maybe it's his offensive coach. We don't know.
Well, see, and very often it seems more than people want to admit. It's the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and which means you have to let somebody go.
Then they go to a different team where somebody else, and all of a sudden they look like.
And these new philosophies are coming into play of how you play on the field. All right, the last one going out. Cleveland Cavaliers, second worst defense in the Eastern Conference. They give up more points than every other team except one, which is way down at the bottom. They have a losing streak of 3. They play Golden State tonight. Should the alert button be going on if you are second from the bottom in defense in the Eastern Conference when you were the top the year before? Defense now. They give up almost as much as the Lakers do in points allowed.
Yes, and yes. And yes. I mean, it actually looks, as we're moving through, Cleveland may not be the best team in the East.
They're aging.
So they certainly don't appear to be stronger than last year. That was the whole thing.
Right.
And so the biggest thing about Cleveland is wondering whether or not LeBron stays, and they try to get who they try to get in the face of keeping LeBron, or LeBron goes.
Kyrie look like a smart move now?
Totally.
That's what I said.
It looks like a smart move for Kyrie.
Yeah, because something was in the wind, and LeBron is playing at his best year as it relates to his stats. He's doing really well. Everybody else around him. And I think this, I'm going to say this because I know that this is yet to be determined. When Tristan Thompson, for either injury or strategically, was removed from that position of center or enforcer, they have not been the same. Maybe it's not because he scored points, it's because he's such a strong presence there. And I have to just say that may or may not have something. When you don't have that center force, it may take away from some of the defensive liabilities.
His performance had changed, too.
Well, it did, but he was injured, I believe.
Yeah, I think that was what
it was. Main reason. So he's working himself way back in, but the hard part is now the players have changed.
Well, yeah, and they keep acting like are they openly courting DeAndre?
I would say everybody's openly doing it. Everybody's going to openly do it, but the problem is what they say in the media versus what his leverage is. They're salivating over him. You think of a winning franchise, the top 3 or 4 teams, and they get a DeAndre. Your whole defensive scheme changes. Your rebounding. He's a leading rebounder in the league. That alone. Okay, so, and his percentage, field goal percentage is always number 1 and number 2. So the shots he does take, high percentage. Oh, man, they'd love to get their hands on him. Hey, it's Cleveland. Out of the 3 stories I gave you going out, Ball brothers, don't worry about them. Tennessee, malarkey. Tennessee Titans will suffer, or Cleveland better get up off their ass and move something. Which one's more urgent story, in your opinion?
The more urgent story, I guess, right now is Cleveland.
Yeah, same here.
I'm a Cleveland. In general, I'm not a fan like that, but they're one of the teams that I enjoy and like. Yeah. But I have the same exact assessment of you. Even we said in the offseason, I said none of these moves were making them better. No, in our opinion.
Defense, if you don't, nobody likes it as much because you have to hustle just as hard as you score. You don't play defense, I don't know how you make it, and they're not playing defense, man. It looks bad. All right, I'm out, man. Done.
Victor Allen, New Sports, a recurring segment of the Morning Coffee with Mario show. Be here every week and get Victor's insight into all the happenings. New Sports. Remember to dress appropriately. Loose-fitting cotton clothing preferred. Sports bras and jockstraps.